Well, today we're here with Karl Golden from the New Movement. Thanks for joining us.
No problem at all. My pleasure. My pleasure to be here.
So talk to us a little bit about what is the New Movement.
Okay. The New Movement is an organizational movement. I believe it's something first of its kind, something that the world has never seen before. Maybe it takes similar parts from different movements, but what we're really trying to do is social unification and global development. So that's on a broad scale. That's our overarching mission and what we're trying to do. On a smaller local scale, we always say think global, act local. That's one of the things I've learned throughout growing up. We're trying to provide a platform to young artists or young people in general, so they can showcase their voice, so they can showcase their talents and abilities. So that's what the New Movement is mostly about. But as it grows and evolves, we'll see what happens, and we'll see what the world needs, because we're here to provide what the people want and what the people need.
And how did this all begin?
So this began in about 2016. It started out as a personal blog, just me writing on my website, thenewmovement.net, and it kind of evolved from my trip to Ghana in 2016, also my trip to Philadelphia. It was an extended stay, a year-long time in Philadelphia for 17 and 18. That was a beautiful trip, an amazing trip, as well as Ghana, and those really shaped my experiences to make the New Movement what it is now.
Now, where did your ideas come from? What inspired you?
Mm-hmm. So, like my trips, my experiences have inspired me for sure. But specifically, I would say, definitely I'm inspired by God and my journey with God. I think it's definitely been a big part of that. I don't know where I would be without God, and I don't know what the New Movement would be without God. It's taken me different places, led me to different things, and I'm just inspired every day by other people and what they do, and how I can impact the world. That keeps me going. That's the inspiration.
And what are some of the specifics of what you're hoping to accomplish with this?
I want to accomplish a lot. I want this to be my life's work. So as I grow older, become more mature, as I grow to be, an adult here, I can really mold this and grow this. And I really want to accomplish helping people. I think that's the best thing you can do. What's a life lived if you didn't help anyone? If you just were selfish your whole life, and you got to the end and you didn't help anybody. So I think helping people is definitely where I'm headed.
Were there any personal experiences that made you want to take this road?
I can't really pinpoint one personal experience. There was experiences of trips, going different places. I think travel is hugely important. You have to travel. You have to go places and experience things, because that's how you take in new information, what's going on in the world. You learn more about it. You learn more about cultures and how they operate, and you bring it back, and then that's how you operate now, because you've experienced that. It's all just a blessing. It really is.
Now, movements typically have followers.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
Well, I think online I have a good following. I'm connected with people on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the social medias. That's where the most followers, I guess you could say, are today. But I think back to times where there was no social media. How did those people have followers? Jesus had followers. Martin Luther King had followers. So I'm trying to figure out personally how did they count how many followers? I don't think they counted them, but maybe how do you establish your following? I think at our upcoming event, we'll see who follows the New Movement by how many people attend. So we're having the open mic movement, which is coming up Thursday, July 11th. So we're going to see how many people come out, and I think that will be a great telling to see how many followers we actually have.
Okay. Now, you said that this began in 2016,
Mm-hmm.
so we're going on 3 years now. And anything worthwhile, I think you're gonna hit some roadblocks. Have you had any type of negative reactions from people, or any negative experiences?
Definitely, and this is the first time that I've been in this platform, and I really want to speak on something that's been on my heart and has been on my mind for a very long time. So back when I was attending Manchester Community College, I earned an internship through the internship program there, and I worked for the Manchester Chamber of Commerce. And I was different than the people who worked there. There was only 3 people who worked there, and they were all women, and they were all Caucasian. So I felt a little different, but I thought, okay, maybe they're trying to put a little diversity into this place. Manchester's doing a big push for that, and I greatly respect that. So I was like, okay, this could be a good partnership. As we got going along, I kind of noticed some things that I didn't like. I kind of noticed that people around were kind of set in old ways. The Manchester Chamber of Commerce is an old organization, and I think that it needs a new revitalization. And I don't think I was treated fairly. I think that they didn't do things professionally. They tried to cover things up professionally, but at the end, the personal interactions weren't professional, and that's been a huge stumbling block, I would say, because I gave a speech at Manchester Community College in 2017, and I spoke about how I wanted to have more diversity and inclusion in the town of Manchester, and I wanted to use my position at the Manchester Chamber of Commerce to help affect the business community, see more minority-owned businesses in the town. I thought that would be a great thing. But I don't think they were really on board with that. I thought they maybe possibly felt threatened by that, because here I am, someone new, coming in, and I see what's wrong, and I want to make changes, and I was eventually let go from the position. I gave the speech, and then the next day I was told not to come to work, and then the following day I was let go from my position. So that was a huge stumbling block. They gave me a book from their library that had to do with diversity and inclusion, and they left a note that said, "You can keep it." And I took that pretty personal. I picked up my last check, and I left. And I never completed the internship. I still got credit for the class due to MCC. I still I ended up doing something else with marketing to help me complete the class for the internship. So overall, it was a good experience. It was a learning experience, I would say.
So they gave you a book for called Diversity. Do you feel that they felt that you were not being diverse?
I feel like I represented diversity, and they gave
that's
me,
what this whole movement's about.
Definitely the new movement definitely stands for diversity. Definitely stands for diversity and inclusion. But they gave me that book, and to me it was like you can keep it. That's what it specifically said. No, you can keep it. Like, we don't want any diversity here. Like,
so that's what it sounds to me like. They were just saying, you don't know anything about diversity. Read this. You can keep it.
Yeah.
So let's back up a little bit. When you said you got hired into that internship, you said it was all white people.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like there was they hired you for a reason? Do you feel like there's any like tokenism?
Definitely tokenism. I'm so happy you brought that up, because I asked the person who runs Manchester Chamber of Commerce. I asked him. I said, "Have you heard of tokenism before?" That's so funny that you bring that up. I asked, "Have you heard of tokenism before?"
It sounds like that's exactly what they were doing.
And I believe it was. They wanted to put diversity. I think their intentions were good, but I don't think they were ready at that time for this to actually happen. Because when you have people who come from different backgrounds and different cultures, there's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period there. Everyone's going to work on the same flow. And let me say this, there was reasons why they let me go, and I can attest to that I wasn't the most I wasn't the best on being on time, so we can say that. So I come to work, and they were keeping track of when I showed up, when I didn't show up, and I showed up for work, but sometimes I'd be a little late.
You weren't getting paid for this, were you?
I was getting paid for this. This was a paid internship. I was late a few times. I would say a handful of times I was late. But do I think that I was worthy of being fired? No. I was also taking classes, and I had another internship for what's now called Workspace on Main Street in Manchester. So I was working both of these jobs at the same time, both of these internships through the town of Manchester, but I burned out. I was getting home not late at night, but just having a day of work.
Sure.
2 jobs. You get home and you still want to. At this point I'm like 18, 19 years old, 20 years old. So I'm still want to have fun with my friends, hang out with my friends. but these positions were for someone who's much older. But and I thank God for the experience, and it was great experience. I can't put it on my resume, but the personal experience I'll hold with me forever, and I'll forgive, and I have forgiven them personally because that's how you move forward. But I think that there still needs to be some reconciliation with that problem.
Okay. Let's turn the tables then. Talk about some of your highlights.
Okay, great. Of course,
within
yes.
the movement.
Yes. So in 2017, we hosted 2 events, one in January and one in July. So it was the Charity Showcase was our first one. They were both in Hartford. The second one was called the Youth Culture Showcase. So, and the names kind of speak for themselves. The first one was all about charity. We were giving back books and clothes to Ghana from the people that I worked with on my trip over there. It was it wasn't a missions trip, but it was a leadership development trip. And so we sent some clothes, we sent some money back to them. That was the best highlight, just to see when they sent us pictures back of the kids wearing the clothes. Like, these are little kids, 3, 4 years old, and they're wearing clothes that they didn't have before. They would go to school and they would just no shirts or and it was amazing to see, because I saw that firsthand. And then I helped build the school while I was there. We did it for a day or two. We didn't build the whole school, but we put in some time and effort on that school. And to see those kids now get some clothing that I helped put on, that I helped send over there, was amazing. It was amazing. That was one of the biggest highlights. And then the second showcase was the Youth Culture Showcase. The town of Manchester had it was a board where they give out grants. And we earned $1,000 grant, the new movement. So it's a team, and people and I. We earned a grant, and we used that to host the second event in July. And we ended up getting all the books. We donated books to Philadelphia. So these 2 places hold a special place in my heart. Mm-hmm. And from there, I think those were the greatest. The giving back, the charity aspect of what we're trying to do is the huge highlight, but also giving the platform to the young artists, the local artists, because there's no platforms in Connecticut. In Connecticut, you don't think of any, big culture cities like Philadelphia, Houston. You don't think of Los Angeles, New York. We're overshadowed by New York and Boston. So there's nothing really in Connecticut. We have New Haven and Hartford, and we're really trying to put on for New Haven and Hartford, for the state of Connecticut, and in general, because there's a lot of creative people here, and that platform is needed. So we want to provide that, and so we're doing a lot of great work, and it's every time we host an event, it's a highlight. It's positive.
Nice. Now, do you want to see this movement sustain in the future, or is this kind of a short-term thing, like a stepping stone to where you want to go?
This is definitely a long-term thing. I don't know how it's gonna go long term. I have plans. I'm in the Army, so I have plans to grow my career in the Army. I have plans to finish my education, to eventually move to a master's and doctorate degree. Right now I'm only at an associate's degree, but I have plans this fall to return back to school and get my bachelor's degree. So I don't know exactly how it's going to fit in, but I know that it's going to be there, and I know it's going to evolve. I know it's going to grow. What it is now, it may not be in 5 years. I think it's going to be an improved version and more focused and better version in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years. It'll still be around, and ultimately when I pass away, I want this to still be alive. The new movement will still be alive when I'm gone.
How has this really affected your life?
It's affected me personally, and it's given me confidence because of my journey with entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is huge for me. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur as a kid, and now I'm finally realizing those dreams. As an entrepreneur, I'm doing something that there's no one can set any limits on. I don't have a boss. I don't have anyone where I have to clock in or anything like that. And I've actually learned that is valuable through the new movement, because when you don't have any money, then I'm not hosting events to get ticket sales, and it's a lot of charity aspect work too. So there's not a lot of money left over for me to just live and survive. But it's taught me that having a job is valuable. I didn't value a job before because I was so focused on owning my own business and being an entrepreneur. But having a job is extremely valuable, and that's one of the lessons that it's taught me. And I think finding the right job is very important, because there's a lot of jobs out there, well, positions that need to be filled, but there's jobs that are for certain people. And I haven't found a career or a job that's specifically for me right now, or yet in this stage in my life. The new movement is where I get my fulfillment, but I'm still trying to find a good job. And I think that's one of the personal experiences, the life lessons that it's really taught me.
Do you think you have inspired anyone?
Definitely. I can't say for sure, but from the people that I've talked to, it's always been positive reviews. You know, I don't hear what people say when I'm not around, but I do, from the feedback that I've gotten, they love the work that I'm doing. The community is all for it. You know, one of my mentors, Ryan Parker, who can't be at this upcoming event because he's traveling out of the country, but he's given me his blessing in order to go on with this open mic movement, because he's actually the creator of the open mic movement. He's my inspiration. So I hope to inspire people, and I know that I'm inspiring people just by giving people this platform. I know that it's going to be an inspiring event. It's going to be an inspiring day for the young people, for the older people as well, to see, like, wow, like, look at these young people doing what they want to do, doing what they can do. And I hope that everyone just leaves the event, any event that I hold, very inspired and not only motivated, because motivation fades away, but when you have that the inspiration inside of you, there's inside the word inspiration, I feel like it's spirit. You know, when something touches your spirit is when you feel inspired. So that's what I really want to do. I want to touch people, touch their souls, touch their spirits, so they can be inspired.
Now, movements typically are fighting for a cause. What are you fighting for?
That's a good question. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm fighting for. You know, I don't want this to be a fight. I don't want it to be a fight but I want it to be like working together, collaborating. You know, I want the new movement to be a collaboration project where we're working with towns, we're working with governments, we're working with churches, we're working with a lot of people to have, we may have differences, but if we can sit down and talk about those differences and how we can proceed forward through both of us, mutual agreement, then that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to make progress. Because I feel like a lot of movements nowadays, the Black Lives Matter movement, they're fighting for the police brutality, and there's a lot of divided opinions on that. But how do we take someone who's against Black Lives Matter and someone who's with Black Lives Matter, sit down, have a conversation, and talk about, I'm talking about people with power. I'm talking about people, but I'm also talking about people, everyday people, because that's very important too. But the people who hold influence and power, how are they going to go about this? And how can they show on TV, on the newspaper, shaking hands, that there's a united front? Because we are the United States. And I feel like right now we're not very united. We're very divided. So I guess you could say that's what we're fighting for. But it's not a fight. It starts with love.
Very cool. All right, I'm gonna throw some curveballs at you here.
Okay.
Who are your heroes?
My heroes, okay? My heroes. So I would definitely say my family is a hero. Everyone in my family is a hero because I learned from them in every different ways. I was raised by my family. I wasn't raised by my mother, just my father. I was raised by my family. I've had a personal connection with everyone in my family. And now I hope to grow with the younger people in my family, to grow that personal connection with as well. So my family is definitely my hero. My grandmother is definitely my hero. That's probably the biggest hero in my life, is my grandmother. But there's also people out there, like I mentioned before, Ryan Parker, he's definitely one of my heroes. People like Will Smith are my heroes, comedy and just doing so many different broad ranges of things. That's definitely a hero of mine. And just people, I really find I see people who look like me, and I'm saying, wow, they can do that, I can do it too. And I think that representation in the media, online, is very important. So that way we can see anything is possible, because people who look like us are doing it,
Now think back 15, 20 years. What did you want to be when you grew up?
I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. When I was 5 years old, I was baking cookies with my grandmother. And this is why she's my hero, because I was baking cookies with her, and then I would sell them to people at her work. I would sell them to her friends. I would sell them to family friends. I would send them to family. I would do anything to earn a buck. You know, I would wipe the windows. I would vacuum. I would do anything I could, you know, to earn some money. And I was just buying video games at that age, but the foundation was set. You know, so at that age, you know, I wasn't thinking about much going on in the world, but I wanted to have fun, and I wanted to hang out with my friends. I wanted a cell phone, you know, because this was when cell phones were taking off. So I just always wanted to be an entrepreneur. You know, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I could never say like I wanted to be a fireman. I wanted to be a policeman. I wanted to be, you know, I was growing up. I didn't want to be a sports player. You know, I obviously as growing up, you know, you see the people on TV doing amazing plays in every sport. You know, you want to do that too, but it's not realistic for everyone. You know, you can go. I encourage people to go out there and chase their dreams if they have sports as their dreams. But now in life, I'm realizing that art is very important too. So I didn't realize that when I was younger, but now as I'm growing older, I realize that. So we'll see. Maybe I'll become an artist as well.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much. That's
Yes.
all I have for you today.
My pleasure.
All right.